What's up, everyone? I got a haircut, as you can tell, but I will teach you today how you can learn to really value learning and really value growing and reading books and consuming knowledge. Because a lot of people, they may want to learn, but they hate reading from books, or they hate doing stuff that requires learning because maybe they were taught by their parents, or maybe it's just the way that they were taught. It just didn't feel right and they got bored easily. So the first big thing, and if you guys are wondering, I'm out of breath because I was jogging to improve my health. But the first big lesson is find ways of learning that are enjoyable to you. So if it's videos, try videos. If it's audio, try audio. If it's reading articles online but not books, read articles online, and so on and so forth. There's podcasts, there's all this information out there that's so valuable now. And then the second big thing is learn in a way that's more fun to you. You have to first consider the fact that maybe the way that you were taught wasn't the best because your teachers were boring or they didn't care. And I've learned numerous times that by learning in a really cool new way or with a different teacher, you'll be astounded by the results. So here's an example for me. I took one of the hardest classes ever in college, which is organic chemistry. And guess what? I learned in a horrible way. The teachers were rushed, the classes were too big, there was hundreds of people in them, and I got a C or D, which is an awful grade. And it was not a passing grade. But then I took it again over the summer, and it was a much smaller class. The teacher made it so understandable, and it was a complete 180. I got an A in the class after a lot of hard work, but I realized that the teaching style, the way they teach, the quality of the teaching really matters, because the first time through, they made a complicated subject even more complicated. The second time through, the teacher simplified it, and it all of a sudden made sense. Now for me, learning is one of my top strengths. I've taken the StrengthsFinder personality test numerous times, and learning comes up at the top. But if it didn't, and if something else like communicating or connecting or networking was my top strength, I would double down on that as well. So the next lesson is always just, work on your strengths. Like, if you're not the best learner in the world, that's okay. Other people have stuff that I wish I had, but I don't. So whatever hand is dealt to me, I use that to the best ability I can. And then the third and final and yet most important lesson to really learn better and appreciate life. And I saved this secret for last because I believe it is one of the top things that you can do, and yet most overlooked. And it's simply this: realize the value of the knowledge that you get. Now that might seem cliche or simple, but it's not. Let me dive into a little bit deeper. Most people take everything for granted, and you really have to dive in specifically to really appreciate how much you have, and it will just motivate you and excite you to learn that much more. So here's a very specific example. Most people, they just take the books that they read, the audiobooks, all the resources online, everywhere, for granted, because they were born in this world where all of this was just given to them, so they accepted it as their standard. For me, instead, here's what I do. I say to myself, wow, I can't believe how amazing it is that I have all these things. Just a couple decades ago, no one could even get access to this billionaire or this, top athlete, and even spend a second of their time to get advice from this person. Now, through any channel I want, whether it's articles online, podcasts, videos, I can get access to some of the top actors, the top music producers, the top athletes, whoever I want. And that's exactly what I've done. You know, in the last couple weeks, I wondered if I could get, you know, advice from the top grandmaster chess player in the world. His name is Garry Kasparov. He is widely regarded as the best player of all time, save for maybe Bobby Fischer. And this guy, Kasparov, was the reigning world champion for over 20 years. And I wondered, you know, did this guy, maybe he wrote a book. So I searched it up, and he did. He wrote a whole book on not just chess advice, but exactly what I wanted, life advice as well. Because I was curious, and a little bit skeptical too, but curious if, you know, he had tips on how chess strategy can translate into life success. Now, of course, I read the book. There's some things I was skeptical of applying to other areas of life, but some things I really did think were very valuable. And I can't tell you how often this happens. Just the other day, I've been really getting into CrossFit, realizing it's a sport, and there's like a CrossFit Games, and there's like world competitors. And long story short, I searched it up. I wondered, you know, is there someone out there who's like the undisputed champion? And there was. His name's Rich Froning. He was like he won back-to-back for numerous years, and he wrote a book too. So I'm listening to that now on audiobook, and the list goes on and on. You know, L.A. Reid. I'm really into music as well. He's L.A. Reid. If you guys don't know, he's like one of the like top music producers out there. He signed Justin Bieber. He's found all sorts of talent. Any successful person you named, you know, L.A. Reid was a part of it. Jay-Z, Usher, and so on. He wrote a book as well. And it just goes on and on. The list just goes on and on and on of all these successful people. And it's not always books too. Like, say I'm really into acting. Guess what? You know, there's plenty of really super successful actors, and there's this one guy, Terry Crews. He's like really successful, huge bodybuilder, incredible career. He has his own YouTube channel with all these success videos on there, and now thanks to social media, you get a direct access. I mean, it's not direct to a point where like you can like interview him or ask him questions, but usually now in the modern world, the problem is not getting advice. The problem is you. The problem is you're being too picky or like not even trying, because it's really not a lack of information. People are too likely and prone to find or search for some excuse or magic pill, so they can't just take what's already given to them, the advice already given. And there will always be people who will have excuses, and they'll say stuff like, oh, but you know, I can't talk to him in real life, or oh, I can't do this or that. And it's really not that's holding them back. It's the fact that they're not really trying. But I am not making this video for them. I'm making it for you ambitious people out there. So I can go on and on, but you get the message. I mean, there's so many successful people and incredible resources out there, and it's quite fascinating how I could do this for almost any topic. And sometimes I won't be able to find anything, but sometimes I'm just blown away by what I can find. The other day I was like, you know what? Storytelling is one of the most important things that you can have if you want to earn money or build a business, or, you know, be in the entertainment industry, because storytelling is what has made billions of dollars in music, in film, in books, in businesses like Disney. So I searched up storytelling and I tried to find some of the world's top storytellers, and one of my all-time favorite people is Will Smith. And lo and behold, I found a one-on-one Skype interview with Will Smith and some other top people, and like his secrets on how he chooses stories and what makes a story work. And I'm just like, wow, I would have paid real money to get that information. And that's the attitude that most people lack. They won't pay real money for it. They take it for granted, and they don't get ahead because they don't even bother to consume this information. Now, in conclusion, I mean, I could go on and on about all these different topics and all the resources I found, but knowledge alone is not power. I used to think that it was, and it's a huge saying, knowledge is power. That's garbage. The truth is, and I learned this from Napoleon Hill and many others, knowledge plus action is power, because I could have all these tips about any topic in my head, and if I just sit in my closet and do nothing with it, it's useless. Until it's applied, it is simply potential power. And we all know how much potential power goes to the graveyard with you. See you guys later. Peace.